Okay. Before we get started, coming off a big weekend, random question for the group. Is Manchester City a better or worse team with Erling Haaland?
Um, Look, let me go. I'm gonna say something real wild. I don't think I think he's not the puzzle piece they thought he was going to be in this whole team. I think after we saw some guys move over to Arsenal, who were City players, obviously they had some holes, they had some pieces that they need to fill up, and Erling just looked like the guy. I mean, of course, he's still a machine, but as we see them play, it does not seem like Pep Guardiola ball with Erling Haaland, just not how they're playing as a group. So, in my opinion, I don't think he's there. I don't think he is. I think they are a worse team with him, which sounds so weird because he scores goals, but just as a group, as an entire team, yeah, I don't think it's really working.
Interesting. Andre, you've had really, really bullish thoughts on Haaland. Yeah, give me your take.
I'm going to go to the other side of the coin. I think he is that missing piece that a team like Pep needed. I mean, if you think about Pep when he was at Barca and he had Zlatan, right? A lot of people tell me, well, Zlatan is more of a 9.5. He comes back for the ball. He creates more. He just does more outside the box, whereas Haaland is just your pure finisher, right? Like he's the one that's like last pass into the box. If Grealish wouldn't have gotten in front of him, he would have gotten a goal at the derby, for example, right? Like he's always got a knack for goals where I'll throw a name out there and you'll be familiar with it. What about Kun Agüero? Like would City be better if they had Kun Agüero now? Well, like I don't think they would be. I think Haaland would still be scoring more goals than Kun, and they would just, I don't know. To me, it just doesn't make sense to say that they're not a better team when you have arguably the top scorer in Europe.
Yeah.
In this squad.
It's interesting. It's a question I asked myself a lot after the derby because I don't know. I don't want to say they're either better or worse. Maybe you guys will agree with this take. I feel I can't answer the question effectively, which is why I asked you guys.
Thanks, man.
I think in all honesty, they were less predictable before Erling Haaland because they had no true striker and they had to keep the midfielders moving, constantly taking up that false nine role and then bouncing right back out of it. Defenders didn't really know how to line up or where to mark. I think, and they were getting pulled out of position quite a bit. I think with Erling Haaland, I don't know if they're worse. I don't know if they're better. I think they're more predictable. I think that it's a true nine. Center backs, you kind of know who to guard, where to line up. Even if he's better than you, you find it's easier to keep City in front of you now. Like you know exactly kind of how a team with a proper striker should line up, even if City's passing is crisp, even if their movement is where it needs to be.
Yeah, I think that's the most accurate. That is the way you could break this down, because all these minutes without scoring a goal. Okay, well, what's the reason? It's not because Haaland is trash or whatever. It's just, it seems like they got it figured out. Like, Pep, we figured you out, man. Yeah. You're going to send the ball to this guy. Let's lock him down.
It's like the same thing that happened to Klopp, right? After 7 years, he finally got figured out. And that's why, teams like Brighton can do that. You know what I mean? Like it's just one of those things where you can only do something in a certain style for so long until you get figured out. So I would say, just to wrap it up, I think that's a good question to say, are they a better or worse team? But I think they're just a different team that is now being figured out. So
yeah. I think it could be a down year for City, and I say a down year meaning they'll finish maybe second in the table. They'll go deep. Make a semifinal appearance in the Champions League. They'll still do things that many other clubs would consider a very successful season. I just think it's lower in City standards, and I think it's one down year. I think maybe they need this season to figure out how to properly play with Haaland that matches the quality that Pep expects from his teams. And then maybe we're going to see something, who knows, beautiful champagne football next season.
Yeah.
We have no idea, but it's an interesting question because someone asked me that over the weekend and I had no idea how to answer it. I was like, dude,
it's a good question.
Your guess is as good as mine. But it is something definitely worth discussing. But anyway, guys, we are recording on Monday, the 16th, coming off of a crazy whirlwind weekend of football. Napoli smacking Juventus, El Clasico. Andre, we're not going to forget about that. That definitely came into the fold in a big way. A lot to talk about, but With that said, episode 24 of Box to Box presented by GOLZtv. Guys, if we haven't discussed it a million times on the show already, GOLZtv is your place for free, unlimited footy content. Head to GOLZtv to find your favorite videos today. Now, with that said, episode 24, it's a big one for us. When I met this guy, I can't even tell you, one, how much fun just kind of comes out of his personality, his voice, his channel. Everything that's fun about the beautiful game always seems to stem from this man. Has a massive passion for Argentina, for sporting Kansas City, and for a million other things that stem beyond the world of football. But I can't really kind of sing his praises enough. We are joined today by Kevin Lopez, a.k.a. Kevincho. Kevin, welcome to the show, my man. I'm so glad that you are here. So glad we could finally do this.
Yes.
How are you, man? How's life treating you now that we've entered 2023?
Listen, great. First, thank you for having me on. I love the whole idea, the goal for GOLZtv, and that's the idea behind the channel in the first place. So I'm totally on board with it. I'm on your team, and right now, look, I've been saying this to everyone, saying to my buddies. Right now, it feels like I took some massive life-changing drug, and everything feels great. You know, all right, Liverpool, trash, fine, we suck. You know, River Plate, I think we're still garbage. Fine, I know Boca might win everything. Sporting Kansas City, I don't know, we might suck this season. I don't care, man. We just won a World Cup, and it seems so hard to explain to some people. Get it, some people don't. But when I tell them, like, listen to me. It's not just like cockiness. I have been dreaming of this my whole life. Everyone does. And then once you finally become world champion, it's like, all right, I don't care about anything. I'm country over club. I'm one of those type of guys. I watch clubs for the players to see them develop into their national teams. So now I'm kind of like, what, guys? We're fine. Messi got it.
What's next, right?
What do I need? A Champions League? I don't care less about a Champions League. So right now, I'm just, I'm loving life, vibing. I support every team right now. I watched Real Madrid get slapped around by Barcelona, and usually, you know what? It usually feels good for me because I'm not really a Real Madrid fan, but at a time, I'm like, I feel bad. I feel a little bad for Real Madrid. That's something that I never would have said, but yeah, no, I feel good right now, and I'm just kind of like vibing with everyone.
I love it, bro. I love it. That was probably one of the greatest like summaries of a guest that we've had up to this point. Like, there's a lot of crazy stuff going on in the world right now. Some good, some bad, but it's all kind of. It doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things because you're loving life at the moment. And just so we can also unpack, some of that point you just made there. Andre and myself live on the bitter ends of that rivalry. I'm a Barcelona fan. He's a Real Madrid fan.
Right.
It's kind of weird how our friendship, kind of was born out of this rivalry.
Yeah.
But we're here now. Andre, before we move on to Kevin's interview, how you feeling, bro? And I want to say this because it was not just El Clásico. I think everything was heading to this point. The Villarreal game, the semifinal against Valencia.
Right.
I mean, Real Madrid arguably are probably the biggest club in the world off to the slowest start post World Cup. How are you feeling about the prospects of 2023 right now for Real Madrid?
I will go back to November 1st, right before the World Cup, and on that episode, I said I'm really scared because I think there's teams that are going to be like coming out of the World Cup break flying, and then there's teams like my team who are going to come out of that with dudes that are rusty, with zero chemistry, and like just lagging, right? Like everybody just seems like a half step behind. Kroos was somebody that I've never seen before. Even Valverde, who offers you a lot, wasn't a game changer yesterday. The defense is in shambles. Rudiger was making, erroneous pass after erroneous pass. So everything that could have gone wrong went wrong. But I think that if there's a time where you want your team to kind of hit a little slump is now. Right before Champions League, not in the middle of, the thick of everything. We still have 20 games left in La Liga. So Ancelotti has a big task in front of him, but it's not like he's got, scrubs. There's really no major injuries. So what can you do? Go back to the lab and just fucking figure it out. Now, it does worry me because we are one or two injuries away from this whole thing collapsing, right? Like we've talked about this plenty of times. If Benzema goes down, who's your backup, right? If Modric, the engine, goes down, sure, our three young midfielders can do it, but can they do it consistently in Copa del Rey, Champions League, and La Liga? So it's a tough task for young players. So All in, not feeling great about it, but it could be worse. I mean, the Supercopa is probably the one title that I was like, I'm okay if we don't win it. But there's a lot of pressure coming off of that, the double title last year with Champions League and La Liga. So, it's going to be a uphill battle, but I think, I don't know, it can be worse than it is now. So let's just try to fix it. That's how I feel about it.
Seriously,
I'm trying to be as optimistic as possible here. Like, I don't know.
Bro. I know when you texted me yesterday, right? And in the words of one of our mutual friends, right? The Supercopa isn't, the trophy you can brag about the most. I think the thing you can brag about the most is that it's an El Clasico final.
Sure.
And the players get up for those, right? And it's just like, hey, the fans expect something. If it was a Supercopa final against Athletic Bilbao, for example, right? Not that it's not just as important to us, but it means something more when it's Real Madrid. And I think that you want, against your rival, you want to, even if the result doesn't go your way, you want the football itself to really kind of do the talking. And I think Barcelona came out in a really big way after having somewhat of a slow start in 2023. Real Madrid did not. I honestly don't know what to expect when Real Madrid faces Liverpool. Kevin, I mean, who's in worse form right now?
Oh, Liverpool, dude. I
was gonna say,
man.
So who would you pick in that Champions League knockout tie? Because I do feel like Liverpool's in worse form, but Real Madrid, I feel like they're struggling to find where the goals come from. So who's going to make it out of that tie?
Yeah, but the thing is, like, Real Madrid still has Benzema, and the guy's a monster. Like, even I think, did he score that game? Did he get one ugly goal? Just like
he did it at the very end. It should have been called offside.
Oh, right. Yeah. So, but like he's that type of dude that just finds a way. Yeah. And Liverpool is playing it's so bad from the back. Like Trent looks lost every game. He looks like he doesn't want to play. He doesn't care. I don't know. It's like a weird attitude thing. It seems like. To where, maybe it's just going to be like a shit off, but you're going to have some guy that's clutch like Benzema that's just going to, maybe it's the 89th minute and just a little tap in, boom, game over. So, if I had to put like money on it, it's Real Madrid. Never, ever count them out.
Especially defending champions. They're defending champions. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like nobody can count them out until somebody knocks them off their perch, right?
Yes.
Until somebody actually does it. I don't think you can realistically say that someone's a real threat to that team in the Champions League.
Hey, so one thing that I wanted to say before we move on from El Clasico, and please let this be the last thing we talk about. But what I was thinking about yesterday and talking to a couple of buddies that are Barca fans is, I think, to your point, when you win a final that big meaning like El Clasico, it's a mood booster for the next 6-8 weeks, right? It carries your momentum one way or the other. The other thing too is, I think it meant a lot more to this Barca team under Xavi than it would have to Real Madrid had we won it. Like, say we win it in extra time, say we win it in penalty kicks again, we get another medal, boo-hoo, like whatever, just throw it in the file cabinet. For you guys, especially for the young guys who've never really won under Xavi, like Pedri, Gavi, those guys, like that shit's going to carry you forward, and it's going to definitely be like replicate it across the tournaments that you have, because Europa League is no easy feat. You guys have United. No. Like especially the way that United are playing now. It's almost like you guys needed that for a mental boost to go forward. Yeah. So that's the last thing I'll say about it.
I agree. And I will say too, on that front, we talked about this. I know, Andre, you weren't here last episode. We talked about this with Max Clark and when he came on. I expect, and this is even with the result yesterday, I'm expecting Barcelona to lose that tie against Manchester United. And I think for the biggest reason of, not that Europa League doesn't matter. I think it's another trophy, and Xavi wants to win another trophy. I think a lot of these players, especially Leva, right, feel they're, maybe it's pretentious to kind of say this, above Europa League. I feel like La Liga means so much more to them. I think that they really want to take a trophy off of Real Madrid. Yeah. I think Europa League's great. I think they would lock in for the Manchester United tie. But then if we did get past them, maybe they slip to someone that's, typically a Europa League team. I don't want to drag any other club through the mud right now, but just someone who's typically in that competition. Yeah. It happened to us last year. We beat Napoli convincingly, and then we lose to Frankfurt. So it's just one of those things where, like, I think Barcelona cares a lot about who they're playing and the type of competition they'll see, so that they can really, have that champagne football that's so near and dear to Xavi. I think anything with Real Madrid involved, we're locked in for. We saw it for the Supercopa. I think we'll see it for La Liga. I actually expect Barcelona. It wouldn't surprise me if we somehow just just, I don't know, have made a couple crucial mistakes that gave away the tie against United. And I feel like United need that trophy. I think that they need the Europa League. They'll be in the title race for the Prem, but I expect Arsenal to bow out of Europa League. I expect Barcelona to bow out of Europa League. I really think United will be the team that probably walks away with it in the season, and that carries into some real momentum for Ten Hag into the Prem for next year. So all in all, I agree, man. I think a crucial few weeks ahead of Real Madrid leading up to that tie with Liverpool. Yep. But if there was ever a time to play against this version of Liverpool, it's now.
Yeah.
Like, there was ever time to play that club, bro. And for you guys to be going through what you're going through, I mean, there isn't a better kind of tune-up tie, if you will, than Liverpool right now, where you guys can get a lot of confidence back.
I see the Liverpool matchups as the same thing as the Supercopa. Whoever wins it is going to carry that momentum forward. Like mentally, you shut down if you lose. You get through the group stage and then you lose in the first round. Like, fuck that. Especially in the slump that both clubs are going through. Man, like that would just suck, right? Like to think, well, we're out of Champions League. We're only playing for a league at that point. Maybe you're out of the cups as well. Like that tie is going to define a lot about both seasons going forward.
It probably means more for Liverpool, though. I mean, Liverpool's still fighting for top four. Real Madrid's going to get Champions League next year no matter what, whether they win La Liga or not. So it's like, there's not quite as much hanging on the line. Liverpool need to avoid a scenario where they don't qualify for Champions League.
For Europe, period.
For Europe, I guess now, too. They're almost in that boat with Chelsea. Man, it's wild that 2020, the start 2023 has given us. With that said, though, man, back into the fold with Kevin and Kevincho, and look, I want you to even start kind of walking us through how that name for your channel popped up and became relevant for you. But before we get there, let's start at the very, very beginning, man. So I asked this question to everybody who joins the show as a guest. Interpret it how you will, answer how you will. Kevin Lopez, who are you today?
I think the best way to describe myself at this exact moment, I would say football, or let me scratch that, soccer advocate, content creator, soccer advocate. I think throughout my whole life, like since I was a little kid, I'm like, okay, I'm a fan of this game, and I'm a fan of, I grew up watching it in Argentina, grew up watching, teams in Europe, the stereotypical stuff, looking at Major League Soccer, kind of like it's no big deal, not a big thing. And then I started, 2 years ago, realizing like football is football, soccer, whatever. And now I'm just kind of like, all right, if you truly like this game, then let's like respect all the countries that play it, all the different types of teams and leagues, and watching the women's and the men's and just staying just open to anything. Obviously, the game is different and it may be faster here or whatever here, but football's football. So now I just see myself as an advocate, not like I don't know, I'm not this huge leader, but I just want people to kind of jump in this game, start to love it like I do, like millions of people do. Even if it's a small footprint, that's just the best that I can do for now, at least, But that I think that's a good description for me.
Have you
100%, bro?
Have you considered being a politician? Because that was a great fucking answer. I would vote for you, man. Let's go.
Look, commissioner of Major League Soccer.
There we go.
Oh, man. I think a lot of MLS fans would be somewhat okay with that. I think a lot of MLS fans, especially the ones in your chat, probably have to be most in line with that. I'm really kind of curious. How do you think, now that you've given us your intro, how do you think your chat and your community would tee you up for an intro?
Oh my God. I think the best from talking to them personally, from talking on lives for 2-3 hours, the biggest thing that comes up is just new/refreshing. I think they would always say, oh, you just like a different vibe from other people, which is cool. I'm not like some weird individual guy, some guru, but there's not a lot of people that have maybe this enthusiasm for this league or a certain team or whatever. And then people just like to vibe with someone like that, talk to them for a couple hours. So yeah, I think just refreshing is just how they would describe me. I don't know if they would say I'm an advocate or whatever, but yeah, just something different, I think.
Love it, man. Love it. I think your community is. I've been in there for a couple of the live reactions. We'll talk about the reactions here in a second. They're a brand all their own. We'll put it that way. I think everybody, whether you love the quality of the match being played on your screen when watching Kevin, or you're simply just there to kind of tune into him versus what's going on the screen? I think anybody can really appreciate it. Would you say your fans and your chat love you more for your good moments or your bad?
I think, that's a great question, because I have a lot of people in the chat that are not sporting fans or maybe Casey Current fans, but for some reason they're in there. I think they are waiting for not good times. I started streaming while Kansas City was horrible. I mean, hopefully they're not horrible next season, but they were so bad, and it was a team that's not usually that bad. So I started it not thinking, it's going to be fun doing this. I thought halfway through the season, we'll come back, we'll make the playoffs, it'll be fun. And that just didn't happen. And the anger and just the annoyance of what was going down, I'm trying to love this game and love this league and this team, and they're just like killing me every damn freaking game. That I think that's what helped me grow eventually. But then, when we started winning, there were a lot of people that were just happy that we were winning. Even up to the World Cup, I have people in the chat that hate Argentina, or definitely did not want Argentina to win, but they would admittedly say, hey, I'm happy you got to win. And I was just like, I don't know if I would say that. 2014, if it was the other way around, I'm watching some German guy streaming Bundesliga and World Cup starts, I'm praying for his downfall, and then they win it. I'm not gonna say, I'm being straight up. I'm gonna say I'm not watching anymore, dog. I'm not gonna hear you.
We're breaking up.
I'm not gonna see that four. Yeah, this is it. I'm not seeing 4 stars when you come in. I'm not seeing you be cocky with a trophy. Nah, screw that, dude. But yeah, it's just shows the type of vibe that people have. I think in the U.S. is such a melting pot, and we all kind of find, hopefully, some type of respect at the end of the day. But yeah, that's one of the coolest things about the streams. Is just all these different point of views.
That's Love awesome. It, man. Love it. Well, look, I know the stream is still for those who haven't tuned into Kevin before. The stream is still, believe it or not, pretty new. Even though Kevin's almost like in every way sounds, looks, feels like a very seasoned content creator. You're still, at least from the football perspective, fairly new. I think maybe 9+ months then, along those lines.
Not even a year. Yeah.
Okay. So, but I know that's not your first channel, and I remember watching your first video when you and I first met, and it's funny you kind of try to talk about what I saw in Kevin's first video on his channel. The hair was a little bit longer. Yes. You're talking about some of the other content you were creating.
Yeah.
And more importantly, the reasons why you wanted to start a football fan channel. So, I mean, talk me through it a little bit, man. Like, because as someone who's still very, very new to creating content himself, Andre's kind of in the same boat. How did you find, I guess, kind of the motivation to start a new fan channel?
Yeah.
And what were you doing before? Like, how did all of this content creation journey really start?
Yeah, well, kind of depends on like how far back we want to go. So,
go deep, bro. Deep. As far as you want.
In the motherland, in Argentina, I was raised. Well, okay. I moved to the U.S. very young. I'm from Argentina. My dad's from the U.S. Mom's Argentinian. So even if I stayed in Argentina, I had this mixed culture where my dad's showing me U.S. life, and I'm growing up in the Argentina world. Moving here pretty young, going to Argentina over the summers, it gave me like almost a split personality to where I'm in the U.S. and I care about these things, and I go to Argentina, I don't care about those things anymore. This is what I care about. So as I got older, I had the dream, like a lot of boys and girls do, of playing professionally, especially in Argentina. I thought I would maybe have a chance because the youth level, there's all these academies, totally free. You just have to show up and be a baller. And that was like, all right, I'm going to do that. Once we were here and I started to realize, okay, I'm not going back to Argentina. I'm going to probably finish school here, at least high school. That dream started to kind of turn where my parents divorced, so I was living with my mom, and it was getting really expensive for club soccer. It's like the downfall of the U.S., in my opinion. Yeah. And I started realizing, holy crap, like I'm not going to my mom can't pay $4,000 a month for this damn club soccer in Kansas. You know what I mean? Am I even getting better? I started realizing, I started having like tantrums on the field where like coaches would tell me to do all these different positions. And I'm like, dog, just teach these guys how to play. I'm not playing 6 positions, all right? I'm like 13 or whatever. And I started getting in trouble. I got to a point where I was not having fun. I even when in that situation, I actually got kicked off a team because I just told I don't know if can I cuss on here?
Go for it.
Dude.
I just told the coach to fuck off. I was 13 years old. I'm like, you don't know what you're doing. You don't know the game. Like, I just started going off in the middle of a game. And he benched me, and then the next game, he just told my mom, hey, I got to kick him out because he just put me on blast in front of all the parents and all this shit. Well, after that, I really had a bad taste of not the sport, but the sport in the U.S.
Yep.
So flash forward, I'm in high school, and I'm starting to think, like, what do I want? What do I want to do when I'm older? What's my dream? So the backup dream has always been, even since when I was as young as I can remember, I've always wanted to work in film, either behind the camera or in front of a camera. So I thought, all right, I'm going to go to a film school and just see how it goes. Everyone, as you know, probably not going to make it. It's a hard field, just like sports. It's like a small percentage.
Football,
yeah, exactly. So in high school, I'm like, all right, if I want to do this, I need to get like an edge above everyone else. So I thought, all right, I'm going to make a little YouTube channel because I'm just going to learn how to edit. All right, I'm going to watch YouTube tutorials. I'm going to pirate, editing softwares, whatever I need to do. I had to learn how to pirate. I used my younger brother was a computer whiz, so he was hacking things. And I'm like, please, I need this and this. So at 14, 15 years old, it became that. I played high school soccer, didn't really enjoy it. But I started doing this YouTube thing where we started videos like the typical gaming videos because I just want to learn, how do I have my face in front of a game? How do you even do that? So then we started learning that. And then it turned into stuff that I actually liked, like mini documentaries or vlogging, just showing off a certain city or a place in Kansas or whatever. I think I got lucky that I grew up in Kansas only because it's so damn boring here that I thought, all right, I got to do something. So I would go out and do something and experience, I don't know what. And just film it, and that's where the editing started to get better. I've always was by myself, so I just spent whatever time. And by the time I was in my first year of college, I started realizing, even in college, like I really don't need to be like, what am I getting a degree for graphic design? Like, am I trying to be a filmmaker in Kansas? It's not a real film school. So I thought, look, I'm wasting my time. I'm just gonna do a normal 9 to 5 and then do YouTube on the side. And it wasn't until, I don't know, 4 or 5 years in, I didn't make a single dollar. And once I got totally monetized, I had random documentary, like 30-minute documentaries that were blowing up. And that's where money started coming in. And I started to realize, okay, this actually could work. This could be a side gig for a while. And then flash forward to 2019, 2020, right before COVID, I had an idea where I've always loved sports. So I thought, oh, what if I just do a live stream, like watch along, kind of like what people do in Europe for soccer teams, but just for anything. Just like I love KU basketball, so maybe KU. I was thinking, oh, dude, let's do a 3-hour Chiefs game stream, and then maybe an MLS stream. I don't know. And then that went into Copa America 2021 came around. And I thought, all right, I can't upload this on this documentary-esque channel. It's not the vibe. So I started this fan account for Argentina, just for American Argentinians, if they want to hang out and watch the game with me, whatever. Didn't think I would have anyone watching. I didn't even know how to stream. Like, again, that's more YouTube tutorial. I had no idea. So I went live in like the first game of the Copa America. I don't even remember who we played. I had like 300 people in chat, like actively watching. And I was like, holy shit, like this is crazy. All right. Some of my videos didn't even get 300 views. I'm getting 300 people at a time live for 3 hours. It started to kind of change things for me. I started talking to people and I could watch the game a little bit more relaxed at the beginning and kind of hang out because no matter what, I was going to watch the game. So it just might as well go live. Yeah. And luckily that tournament went well. It was my first time seeing Argentina win a trophy ever other than the Olympics. And that moment, once it ended, I was just kind of like, damn, I missed this. It kind of sucks. So I went back to the documentary channel, started, doing some more breakdowns on different topics. And then I had an idea, this anger for U.S. soccer, the system, the way, the way kids grow up here and the rich kids play, the poor kids don't play and all this stuff. I think one interview with, I think it was Pulisic. It was either Pulisic or Reyna, which is fitting right now. One of them, we're talking about how they developed. And, it had to have been Reyna, because Reyna's dad, played. So I'm like, dog, you're a good player. Okay, I'll give you that. And you developed well. But if daddy wasn't playing, okay, I'm saying this right now, or if daddy didn't have money, you might have not have been a baller. I'm sorry. There's so many kids that I played personally, poor kids that lights out. I see them at working at a grocery store, and it's just kills me. I'm like, that could have been Maradona. That could have been Benzema. Kylian Mbappe could have never played football if he grew up in the U.S., in my opinion. So that taste was a bad taste. So I thought, all right, let me break down Major League Soccer in the U.S. system. And even at that time, I watched Major League Soccer occasionally. Because I'm in Kansas, Sporting Kansas City is the local team. So I'm like, all right, I will go for them. In 2013, my older brother gave me a ticket and said, hey, we're going to the MLS Cup final. I'm like, all right, never been to a single game. Let's do it.
What a game to go to.
It was
as your first game. That's amazing.
Yeah, it was my first game. It was literally, I was freezing my balls off that game.
I remember that game.
Went to extra time, penalties. I just wanted to go home and hopefully win. And we did win, and it left a good memory in my brain. But again, flash forward to a couple years ago, or last year, I thought, okay, that's great and all, but there's a problem. So I went down, did a breakdown of Major League Soccer, and then in the middle of that, because I'm a Sporting fan, I asked my buddies who I know that are Sporting fans, I just need B-roll of some idiot watching a game. Just B-roll, just so I can voice over, talk about the league. I just needed something instead of having photos. And I asked them, and they're like, Kevin, there's no one that does Kansas City soccer content. There's no watch-along channels, there's nothing. And I remember in the middle of doing this video, I'm like, are you shitting me? It's one of the older teams. It's a blue blood, It's how do we not have okay, whatever. So then I finished the video, and that bothered me so much that I was talking to my wife about it. I'm like, this is bullshit. Why don't we have do you know how easy it is to just turn on a damn camera and watch a game? Why doesn't anyone do this? And she just goes, well, just do it. And I'm like, okay. You convinced me. You got
Twist
me.
my arm.
You twisted my arm. I guess I'll do it. I remember one thing she said. She was just like, if you could get me to meet Johnny Russell, then you could keep doing it. And I'm like, all right, that's the goal. Meet Johnny Russell. And I've always wanted to meet. I've never met any of the players. So I'm like, okay, that's a goal. Let's do it. So I started. I made this account, SKC Fan TV, thinking we're good to go. No one's gonna bother me there. I started my streams, and it just just like the Copa America, it took me by surprise, just because I wasn't just getting Sporting fans. I was getting fans from all different teams I hate. RSL fans are in here vibing with me, and we're just talking shit at each other and then joking and laughing. Before that, after that 2013 final, they're dead to me. I got Brazilians, RSL fans in the same level, but now, or at that time, I'm like, okay, they're cool. We're actually, having a good time. And then there are people that are diehards. I didn't even realize there were diehard MLS fans. I thought, no, that's a South America or Europe thing. You're not going to get stabbed in MLS. You know what I'm saying? But I got people in chat. People were like, nah, bro, I got tattoos of this club. I'm like, you got tattoos of an MLS club? No way. No shot.
Who's the loudest? Who's the loudest MLS supporter group based on your chat interactions alone?
Oh, God. Honestly, I'm straight up. It's the newer teams. Austin fans.
Austin, thank you. Yeah,
is shocking me.
They're wild.
I'm not they are wild, and they're so damn new. I love Austin fans. You haven't won anything, and they are a vibe. Same LAFC have won, but they are a vibe too. Just the vibes are amazing. I thought Miami has so much potential, but they've done some bad choices in my opinion. But that could be another place where it could go off. The key here, okay, and not to upset my American homies, but the key here is that any type of Latin American infusion where you have maybe people from Mexico or Central America and then Latin America. So those cities that have that, they were raised that or watching Europe. So they bring that to the league, which is awesome. That's what I love. So that's why you see teams in Texas have a vibe, or Florida or California. I love that. So I would say they're the loudest. And that was another thing that, again, that caught me off guard was, there actually can be an atmosphere in a stadium. It's not just everyone sitting down like we're watching golf or some shit. It was a nice vibe. So, and then everything started taking off. I mean, like 3 months after that, sporting was so bad that it was killing me to do the streams. But I also became so like not popular, but I was like, I had a presence publicly that it'll look bad. That it's like, oh, this guy tried and now look, he quit. That's how bad MLS is. And I started changing my perspective and started realizing if I like this game, then I should put respect on all of it. Okay. If it's kind of the same thing where think of it like Olympics. There are like Paralympics, Special Olympics. I mean, these people are trying to fight. They're athletes, dude. Who cares what type of game we're watching here? You're going to have a good time watching it, and everything completely changed my mind just 3-4 months in, to where now, like, I got to meet players. I got to go, I get invited to teams. I have admins, which we can get into because I know we have time, but I have admins of other teams going, look, your club doesn't seem like they mess with you. You want to become I swear to you, I have
That
DMs.
is crazy. Awesome.
And I'm not going to say who the hell said this, but I have clubs going like, hey, they're not really vibing. We could use you and we would help you and blah, blah, blah. And that's where it's like old school football fan. I'm like, dog, I'm not hopping teams. Sorry.
Yeah.
That's just, how
I
stupid
respect that.
I look.
I respect that a whole lot, man. Because easily, right? How many creators would just take in the bag? We're like,
Dude.
all right, cool. I'm out. Sporting. It's been real. Even though you guys have invited me, I've talked to some of your players. Even though I've gone to the Kansas City Current matches and whatnot. Like, no, I'm okay. I'm going to switch to another team. And while I'm still early on in my career and nobody will be the wiser, that's really interesting. But hell, I could totally see how they would have reached out. What was your response, or did you just choose not to respond?
Nah, some of them I made some. Just I like make memes on like the daily, so I sent them shit like "nice try, buddy," like okay, like little Robert De Niro memes with wearing a sporting kit, like "don't mess with the family" or some shit like that. Like I love sometimes, or I'll tell them like, I'll show them love. I'll just say, like, hey, you guys don't even need someone, like, you don't need me specifically. Just find your people there are MLS creators. You're just like not promoting them. Like, what the hell, dude? You need to promote them. Find a good one that's maybe not toxic. Say, hopefully they don't say anything crazy, and just promote them, dude. So I had a couple of those. One team not that I thought about it, but one team I was like, God, can you just DM my club and tell them to do the same thing for me? Because like copy and paste everything you just said to me and send it to the admin. I don't care what you need to do, but yeah, there's a moment where, and this was public. I talked about it. I posted it on Twitter. There was a moment where I had to basically change my name. It was SKC Fan TV, and I had to change it to Kevincho, which Kevincho is just like a little nickname my sister and my mom used to call me when I was younger. It's kind of like, not like the nicest nickname. It just means like little guy, like Kevincho, just little. And I've always been small, so it was just like a nickname that I've always had. And in this moment, I thought I was gonna work for the club. I was like, okay, I'm gonna apply to this position and I'm gonna work there. I was even thinking maybe the streams are done. It got me to this point, and now I'm gonna work for you guys, or hopefully. And actually they made this a little public too, or the individuals, not the Sporting Kansas City admin, but they were just kind of like, dude, we love what you're doing. You're qualified, blah, blah, blah. The thing is, you're kind of using our IP, and we're going to need you to drop it. If you want to be with us, drop it. And I remember in the moment, and I've dealt with some crazy shit on my other account. I've got situations where I did a breakdown on Scientology, and they went they were trying to shut my shit down. They emailed me, sent me letters, that all types of like threats about like doxing, like crazy stuff, right? Wow. And in that situation, I learned a lot about IP and a lot about how to legally use copyright or copyrighted material. And I told them, like, dog, it's SKC Fan TV. I'm not saying it can be whatever the hell, super, I don't know, just kid, I don't know, whatever the hell the acronym is. But it kind of gave me this taste where I'm like, well, at that moment, I'm like, well, do I even want to work for you? Like, that seems like a little strange. I know the pay's not good. It would just be like a pure passion project. That's what everyone in MLS is not there for the money. Like the graphic designers, the editors, everything, they are not there for money because it's pretty bad. And I was ready for that, but I thought the vibes I was starting to get kind of like turned me off almost. And I talked to guys like, they didn't invite me out to the training. The players invited. They individually said, "We saw you. We want him out." And they individually DM'd me, not the admins. No one, They said, "Hey, Kevin, Daniel Shalloway just messaged me randomly and said, dog, love you. Please come to our practice. When are you available?" To me, I'm like, what the hell? Okay. Yeah. They chose a closed practice, so no one was there, just us. It was just. And it was in a bad part of the season where usually coaches don't mess with extra people watching their training. They're trying to figure shit out. So if it wasn't for the players, I think I would be more of a generic MLS creator, in which I've been pretty close to doing that, going like, all right, guys, let's put it to vote. What game am I streaming today or this week or whatever, and just watching it and just having fun. Not saying that won't happen. It could happen, but it was just like a weird moment to where I was talking to people who write for the team. A bunch of journalists were just like, dog, you don't want to work for the league. Just do your own thing. You're going to be happier, be on your own schedule. And it kind of gave me a different vibe. And now I kind of have fun with the team because sometimes they do some crazy shit that pisses me off, just like the Ronaldo situation. And I'm like, dog.
How amazing would that have been? How amazing would that have been, though? I mean, think about it. They sat him down. They had multiple meetings. You wouldn't take Ronaldo at Sporting Kansas City?
Oh, I went through 5 different moods, just thought process on it. For me as a creator, dude, I would pop the fuck off. Are you kidding me? If I had Ronaldo, these Ronaldo fanboys would in my streams every day. They'd be like, dude, this is the hardest league in the world, bro. Nothing's like MLS, like they're doing for Saudi Arabia. So it would be great. I think, but what gave me a horrible taste again was, why do we want Ronaldo? It's very fucking clear. He is a big ass name. We're gonna get seats. We're gonna get all this money from him.
Marketing.
Hell yeah, let's go. Marketing, all that, perfect. But from a fan experience, you're like, aren't we trying to win trophies, dog? Isn't that's the point of the we need money to do that, but we need to win a trophy. And it's not like he has a good track record with chemistry. We have a coach that doesn't fuck with anyone's attitude. It's just going to be so much drama. Great content, but our season's going to be a nightmare, He would probably play well, but we would just have so much drama. And it was just like a weird taste for me where I'm like, all right, we're just fucking around now, right? Sporting, we don't really care. We're just going to sign whoever, have a good time, just be cool for a few weeks or whatever. But it would have been great for the league. It would have been great for content creators around the league. You'll have Ronaldo. You can banter off of him. If you love him, you could go to games or whatever you want to do. But yeah, that was a wild point. And there's stuff like that where I get thoughts in my head. I'm like, Kevin, Jesus Christ. You just said it should have been a generic MLS thing. But luckily with the name change and kind of the rebrand, I can do pretty much whatever I want. And that's why NWSL came into my life just recently, because right when Kansas City Current started playing well, because I don't do this as a full-time job, I had to make a decision. All right, maybe I don't stream a sporting game because we're ass. Let's watch a KC Current game and actually have fun. Mm-hmm. And I did a couple of those streams, and it was a lot of fun. And I had a whole new chat of men and women that know this league from every little detail. People who are new to the league, people that were joining this conversation, going, dude, how could you watch this? By the end of the stream, we're vibing. All right, see you guys next week. It's awesome. Crazy stuff like that where, again, it just made me realize it's everything. It's all the same game. I don't care who's playing it, how we're playing the rules. If the rules are the same, and it's the same ball, let's go. All right, same game. So yeah, it's been a crazy roller coaster of this might not happen anymore, or I get in trouble with goddamn Fox Soccer during the World Cup, and they wanted to fuck with me, and it's losing TikTok accounts, and then getting close to losing my. I'm actually very close from losing my Twitter because of the World Cup. So it's just been crazy.
That's so unfortunate though, because someone like Fox Soccer could use the personalities that independent content creators have. Like, so they could use that. They're missing out on such a relevant part of the fan base because they don't have anyone like that.
Yes.
Before we move on, ask a couple more questions about your journey.
Yeah.
What do you think Ronaldo's first impressions of Kansas would have been?
Oh, Jesus Christ. Not good, dude. I put it in my perspective because I've been so lucky to be very well traveled, so I can see the benefits and the downfalls of everywhere. You know, nowhere's perfect. You know, the thing about Kansas is, especially for a guy like Ronaldo, he will never be bigger. Unfortunately, as much as it makes me a little bit cringe, bigger than Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City. It's just not going to be a fact because of the football vibe here. And that's just where we are. Okay. So how would he take, I mean, it's not like he could have gone to like Walmart without people going up to him, but he could go to some places and no one would give a flying fuck about the dude. And that's with anyone. And that's just a Kansas City thing. It's just like, again, it really depends on that Latin and European culture that you have in your city or just the background of the game. It's just, I don't think he would like it. And the other thing is, a downside of this region is that you got no beaches. All right. That for me, that's a big downfall. No beaches. You don't have the huge, a big diversity of people. Kansas City does. Okay. So just don't go further out. Trust me. But if you stay in a good little circle, you'll have diversity if that's important to him. But again, I'm thinking about his kids. I'm like, dude, I'm sorry, little Ronaldo. You're not going to have fun here, man. Just stay in Portugal or Spain or wherever they live. Just don't come here. Just in my opinion.
I was going to say that they probably would live on like Lake of the Ozarks and just like helicopter in. Like that's the only way that could work. You know what I mean? True.
Ozark's pretty badass.
I know.
Ozark's
I've been there.
a wild ass place. Yes. Yeah. So that is a good point.
Maybe.
Just helicopter and who cares? He has the money or whatever.
Exactly.
But it's just, it seems so unreal. Like whatever your guys' MLS team, Jose, you're
FC Dallas.
Dallas. And Andre, do you follow MLS?
Chicago
Fire. Okay. Well, see, Chicago makes more sense. Let's say Dallas.
That's what I'm saying. Like bigger cities. Yeah.
Yeah. It just seems like, to me, it's so weird to think that we were even close. It just seems like, okay, it's not like we just emailed them and said, hey, you want to come here?
Right, yeah.
It's like they had conversations.
I know. That's
like
crazy.
Actual conversations. And I think I could say this. One of the guys was like, dog, once the meeting ended, the first thing someone that was dealing with the meeting said was, imagine Kevin's reaction to Ronaldo being here. And dude, when I heard that from this source, I almost lost my fucking mind. I'm like,
oh my God.
Did he seriously say that? He's like,
that's sick.
Yes. Which is insane. Yeah,
I love it, man.
It's so wild, but I can't even picture him in the damn jersey. How are you even wearing this jersey right now?
How do you unveil him?
I don't know.
There's just so many things. You know what I mean? Like,
what
you're looking at
because
I'm sure you guys saw the Al Nassr, how quickly their Instagram followers went up, Twitter, like whatever, like times 16x or whatever it was. But like the whole like unveiling him at the stadium and all the social media behind it. Like imagine that on SKC colors. You know what I mean? Like they probably would have to go to like Arrowhead and fucking do it there. Like.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Okay, so at that point, that is a great point. That is one thing that we can leave on this Ronaldo debate is if you're playing in Children's Mercy, all right?
Right.
I don't know, capacity's like 24,000 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I don't know. People will travel to see this man for sure. You will have people definitely in the Midwest that can pay for it. They will show up. Would they play in Arrowhead? Like how?
They would have to.
They would have to hop. I don't even. It would just be sold out every damn game.
Yeah,
that's what they wanted.
And I'll use
that's why you do it.
Yes, I'll use the Fire as an example, right? Like we went from Soldier Field, which is like 64,000, to Bridgeview for about 15, 20 years, which was in the middle of nowhere in the burbs, same capacity as Children's. And then they're like, you know what? Screw it. Let's go back to Soldier Field. And now when you watch the games, it's like only the lower bowl is semi-full. You know what I mean? Like,
yes.
But if we brought on somebody like Ronaldo, like yeah, you would stay at Soldier Field. Like you would get,
especially in a city like
60K.
Chicago.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Think about all the tourists that would go. Think about, you know, the people who would travel away. I would go to fucking games from Seattle.
And
like,
it's an easy, actually Dallas and Chicago, to be fair, are an easier place to travel to. Big international airports. It would be not a big deal. Kansas City, dude.
Have to connect.
Yeah. Hot take. Yeah. Connect. Really? Our airport, they're redoing it. Like, Kansas City airport. Ass, bro. Like, it's horrible. Dude, him getting out of his private plane, he would have felt the mistake. He would have been, oh, shit. Like,
that's where my mind went. So, like, everyone was talking about, like, oh, dude, imagine when he steps onto the field for the first time or the crowd. I mean, dude, no. Imagine Ronaldo's mindset the minute the door from his private jet comes down and he's walking into, like, just Kansas. And
just planes. Just
flat planes everywhere that you look. And it's like, where am I now? Like, is this like I've never seen anything like this. What do we do here?
It's another conversation with, like, how down bad is this man? Like, how, like, other clubs, Miami, you're not going to try anything. LA, LA Galaxy, do something, damn it. Like, your other team
New York
is killing
clubs.
it.
Yeah, the
New
NYCFC.
York, what are we doing? How is MLS the only one that was the closest? I don't know.
Yeah, KC,
maybe Peter V is just a G. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I mean, maybe he took advantage of an opportunity, too. We have no idea.
No idea.
Like, when I heard the name thrown around in there, I was like, is that just like MLS relevancy, or is that like for real? Like they're actually making a strong bids for him. Yeah. But ultimately, to hear that I think it was final two, like Al Nassr and Sporting Kansas City as the final two.
Wild, dude.
That blew my mind.
Yeah. Hell no.
I was like, this is gonna go one of two ways, guys. Like, I don't know how this actually pans out. Yeah. But with that said, it also shows you kind of how quickly MLS is starting to come up, being relevant in those giant transfer conversations. But you mentioned something earlier today that I think doesn't get talked about enough as the game continues to expand. The game continues to expand. Fan bases are growing. We're still not capturing the youngest parts of our fan base yet, but they feel it will come. I feel like the easy path to doing that, to an extent from a player side, is to prioritize the cycle for development, right? And right now, this pay-to-play system that we have, Andre and I talked about it numerous times because, much unlike yourself, Andre chose the smart move, in my opinion, not to go through his, the resources he had on the U.S. side, just chose to go through the Mexico development system. Yeah. And really kind of foster his talents down there. I think we've heard of other players doing that same thing. Talk about your experience on that front. And I want to let Andre chime in where he sees fit. Like, moving from Argentina, where you mentioned it was free to go to any academy, you have to have the skill set, to being in a system where your parents may or may not have been able to afford. I don't know what it cost you guys. I know whenever I was coming up in the system, thankfully I had like somewhat of a scholarship playing, and a lot of kind of those Hispanic or Latin kids who didn't have, our parents were doing. They were just giving us scholarships, making all of the affluent parents pay the full rate. But the full rate back then was anywhere from $3,000 to $5,000.
Yes.
A year plus
excluding travel.
I don't even know what it is now.
Plus travel.
Oh, dude, now you're travel. More. Yes. I mean, I can attest to this, dude. I'm still kind of part of the club that I coached for 4 years, and we're going to a tournament in March. We went to Phoenix Cup last year because we won it. We get qualified for this tournament for free, so we get a free fee to participate, which is great. But all in for the boys right now, if you were to look at, like, say 4 major tournaments plus just your regular club fee, you're looking at upwards of like $7,500 to $8,500 a year.
No way.
So like imagine a Hispanic family being like, okay, sure, why not? Take my money. Like, there's no shot, dude. So
single mothers, single fathers doing it.
Dude. Yeah, with like many kids. Yeah, so, exactly.
Yeah, with several. No. Yeah, that's the thing. Okay, so this is where, and when I talked about this, there are teams that are moving towards a full scouting and system where it is free. They are like realizing, okay, we take a hit like up front, but then this kid gets developed. Then we send his ass to Europe. Here's our money, dog. Yep. Okay, think of it as a long-term investment. And then the U.S. as a total can realize, holy crap, we're getting ballers now. Now we have this kid that, imagine, okay, let's just say this. This is what woke me up younger. So I have an older brother, grew up his whole entire adult life in Argentina. And he started talking to me, especially very young. And he straight up told me, like, Kevin, no matter what you do, you're already 10 years behind. Straight up. Just everyone. You're so behind. Just letting you know. I'm like 13 years old. Okay. And he goes, in where we are from, these kids are, the minute they can walk, literally, their parents make a decision like, all right, I think I want to push him, which is maybe not the best thing, but they'll say, I want him to play or her to play. All right, that's fine. That kid, if he's not training, hauling ass, working whatever, dirt fields, mud, grass, whatever he's playing on, fighting, and then once he comes into this club, whatever club it is, let's say it's River, he goes to the River Little Youth Academy. If he's not good enough, the coaches will tell the parents, hey, thank you, no thanks, let's move on. Boom.
Yeah.
Or they'll start at a pool and they'll start making the pool smaller and smaller over time or whatever the hell it is. That is something that we just take a massive L here. And it goes to all the way through the college system. I think the college system is BS. These guys are 21, 22 years old, and they're just now going to MLS. What the – bro, he's done. His ass is toasted. Pulisic is not spending 3 years in college and then playing in maybe in MLS for a season and then going to Europe or going straight to – no, it's not happening. I think from the beginning to where you're 10 years old, that age – to when you're in high school, college, we're always going to be behind. I just don't see us developing until we actually can have a full system to where this is where it gets difficult because is it going to be like a state-funded thing or the U.S., like actual U.S. men's national team, and all of them will come up with, here's the money for this development program. This is what we're going to do, and then spread around the U.S. I don't know what the goal is, but there's definitely a problem. I'm excited for like future generation, all the BS that we all say, but like, can we actually fight compared to these European, South American countries where they're like fed the game? I don't know.
Do you think
it's a great point? Go ahead, Andre.
No, I was just going to add another question to that. So talking about like youth development and stuff, I've been a huge part of it. Obviously my whole life going through it myself, and now as a mentor and coach, for younger kids. But do you think that the U.S. is that like this unique place where there's so many other choices for parents, like thinking of the big four sports, right? And how easy it is to pick up a basketball and just go pick up ball in Chicago, for example, inner cities like New York, or the dad loves football and it's a heritage thing and it's a legacy thing, and I want my kid to play for Texas, or there's kids up north in like Alaska or even Canada where Minnesota, where they're like, no, hockey is life, like you have to play hockey, and the kid just loves soccer and it's like, nope, we're gonna stick you there. Same thing with baseball. Like I just have a feeling that there's a lot of talent out there and a lot of misled talent as well from both the whoever's leading the organizations from a sporting standpoint, and also parents are just not educated, right? So they rely a lot on the kids themselves to figure it out, which Jose and I can attest to. Like for me, when I moved to the US, my parents had no idea what the hell like college soccer was. I didn't either. I'm like, wait, you want me to go to school and play at a high level? Like that doesn't happen. Like I see my boys in Mexico who are playing pro at 18 when I'm just starting to go to college. Like what? Like it just didn't make sense to me. So anyway, like long story short, do you really think that the US is that different, that there's all these other choices that impact how the MLS is kind of built up right now?
Yeah, I think obviously we can all agree the culture isn't there and it's not at the level as anywhere else. One thing that is kind of on the positive side is a lot of these athletes that like play football or basketball or baseball, whatever, a lot of them grow up playing multiple sports. Like you always get that player that's like, oh yeah, you hear him in college. Oh yeah, he played baseball in high school. Actually didn't play basketball until he was whatever age. And it's like, well, all right, what would be amazing is for parents and just the knowledge to grow where it goes, hey, these kids, they're not dealing with a lot of contact very young. Okay. So on the safe side, we're one of those safer ones. On top of that, they're building speed, toughness, endurance, like all this stuff. They're going to be great shape for whatever they want to go to. Then they can, move on to something else, or we'll have these players that have been developed, from 10 years old. I think the biggest thing is, you're right. The country is, because of its size, the amount of people, it gets difficult to have a soccer field in New York. That's why they play in a damn baseball field at the moment. This is where it gets hard to develop kids in certain areas for sure. But I always fall back to it always going to be a culture thing, because in Brazil and Argentina, there's some areas and cities where they're just playing in the streets. They're just having a good time playing in little alleys. And again, it just has to be a culture thing where we need people to share content, share there's football stories and whatever, just to get those young kids to go like, all right, I want to go outside real quick and kick around and see, just mess around. That's where it needs to really start. But I think we could all agree that the system in entirety is flawed for sure.
Yeah. I mean, we can talk about this for hours for sure. Yeah.
Forever.
For literally ever. Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things that, like Andre and I have talked about in depth because we have such unique POVs, right? I did come up in the system, but coming up in the system, I never felt like I was necessarily behind. You always kind of knew it. Like if you watched world football, you always just knew you were kind of a step behind. Yeah. I think you didn't, but you didn't realize how much of an impact it could have had for those who, those families who had maybe were a little more well off, but they were the ones. I know for myself and a lot of my Hispanic friends who were kind of on these quote unquote scholarships, we could never afford it. So the for those who don't know, what a lot of clubs do is they just force all of those fees that those players would be playing, right? The Hispanic kids or those who are, pretty well off in terms of skill, but just don't have the funds to do it. They were on a scholarship. The rest of the families would pay some ridiculous amount, and it would cover the fees of those who were on that quote unquote scholarship. And it never, as a kid, you don't understand. You're there to play soccer. You have no idea. You're just there to play. As an adult now, I don't know how. And someone who has a child on the way in the next 5 or 6 months, I don't even know how I would respond knowing that. Did the parents even know they were paying more to have another child play?
Right.
And if they're doing that, I can see where a situation like the shit we're going through with the Reinas right now, where they feel very entitled to say something, to speak up. I can see where parents in America, soccer parents, feel somewhat entitled because of what they're paying. Yeah. Right. It's like, look, I'm dropping almost $10K for not just my kid to play, but for these other kids to play on my kid's team. Like, I need to get some level of guarantees, or I need to see some ROI. I need to see where that money is working for me. And I don't know. It makes the whole system have this very, I don't know, just it makes my stomach almost turn. I just can't imagine being a parent going through that system.
Well, so, the other thing I don't know.
Is, I think asking the question is important.
Yeah, the other thing too is I'm not really surprised that this whole Reina Berhalter thing happened. I'm kind of shocked that it took this long for it to boil up and actually come to the surface. Not that specific scenario, but the whole families, having that so much impact on the kids, and my kid this and your kid that. And I see it in youth soccer here in Seattle, which again, Seattle, the Pacific Northwest, is a very passionate fan base as well. And that goes all the way down to their parents play it in college, or, they're just rally behind when the Sounders were USL and the Sounders have so much history here, so on and so forth. But that definitely translates over to the youth sport now. And I do see parents on my team. I'm not going to name names, obviously, and I'm going to keep it very, open-ended, but it doesn't have to be my team specifically, just be leagues where it's where's this kid? I haven't seen him play, or we're playing against a team and you expect, the number 10 to be there. And I was like, guys, do you guys know, what happened? And, a couple of the boys go to high school with this player, and they're like, yeah, his parents were giving him too much pressure, and so he just decided to quit. Or, there was a feud between families and the team broke up. There's a club that legit ceased to exist because parents were having so much fucking
Jesus, yeah.
Think about that for a kid. What does that do for a kid when you're like, yo, I want to go play with my friends. I'm 13, 14, 15 years old. If I want to play in college, this is the pivotal year. And then one day you get an email from the club director being like, sorry guys, we no longer exist. It's all those things that only happen in the US, bro. I don't see it anywhere else. It's wild.
Yep.
Yeah. So, and that's why you can't have a pay to play system. That's why you can't have it.
That's exactly
in a world where everything is level set by the skill and there is no money entering the conversation, there's nothing to complain about. It is the best we'll play. So I don't know. We'll see how this entire landscape continues to develop, but that's very much a mission Andre and I are on, of course, having built GOLZtv, and we're hoping that others will continue to follow. Before we wrap up here, man, I'm really kind of curious. I think there's so much other creators can learn from you, and I feel like that's something that I always try to squeeze out of every guest that we have on the show, are just nuggets of wisdom, opportunities for other creators to see this and think to themselves, can I do that? Can I be that guy one day, or girl one day? With that in mind, and this is an example that I want to use for myself, but I think is probably going to continue to be a trend moving forward. I kind of want to follow your suit, man, a little bit. And start an FC Dallas channel, because nothing along those lines exists for FC Dallas fans on the internet today. I like the idea of match vlogs or for the away games, like just watch alongs and reactions. But, you know, putting any of that aside, whether it's for me or for anybody else, what would you tell someone in terms of whether it's best practices or just some advice to start with, having gone through the hurdles and the obstacles from multiple standpoints? Like, where would you maybe guide someone along when it comes to starting a content channel that revolves around football or the MLS in general?
Yeah, I've had this question publicly asked and privately. I've had maybe 4 or 5 creators ask me, from very technical stuff to generics questions, but it feels weird saying like, oh, like I kind of know what I'm doing, even though it's been like 9 months. But from what I've learned in the past 9 months, I will say this, and this is kind of this first one's very generic, but whatever you want to do, if it's a vlog or whatever, I would say do not even worry about production value or what tools you're using. Just screw it, because on one channel I've used everything I could, the highest production here, whatever, and I have less than 10,000 subs for years, you know, so it doesn't matter. And then another channel I could give less of a shit and barely have anything running professionally, and then that was doing better. So out the door, who cares? If you're trying to do a watch along, look up just what you need, what streaming software, how to stream on YouTube, TikTok, fuck, it's like stuck in my head. Twitch, Twitch, and just see just the basics and then go. The biggest thing is you're gonna have 3 hours of content, same with vlogs, and you're just gonna clip it anyway. So at the end, whatever you like, whatever moment, clip, put it out, and then don't expect anything. Just put it out. Who cares? One thing that like I learned was I had 13 followers on Twitter, and it was just maybe people I knew, and maybe someone just saw me by happenstance or whatever, and they're like, all right, I follow. And then maybe like 2 weeks later, it just started growing like crazy, just because people would share it, only because of maybe the vibes, or if it's bad, look, this kid is dying over here, you got to check this out. So I would just say, don't worry about the numbers, don't worry about the production value, just do it, okay? And then upload, and then forget it. Next one. Same thing when things don't go well. If it's like I had multiple streams where lost my internet multiple times, or I don't know, things just happen, or my OBS would crash or something stupid, that becomes the content. Screw it. Mm-hmm. All right, man, I'm streaming for 2 seconds. Oh shit, my camera died, and then that's it. Upload it, whatever. Like whatever it is,
just own it.
Yeah, own it. Make fun of yourself. There's moments where maybe your camera is just like not focused on you, and you could just make that a meme on its own. If something else is focused, and you're just like, what the fuck happened here for 3 hours? No one saw that my camera was not focused. But like, there's stuff like that where I would just say, just do that. And then the other thing is, especially when you're new, people are just want to know what type of person you are, even though no one really knows who you are until you meet them or whatever. But through content, they're going to try to see, all right, is this a super toxic guy or a girl? Yeah. Is this someone that's gonna bash on someone else? You get moments, especially when you do stuff live, where you get people in your comments saying some crazy stuff, and before you ban them, mentally you see it and you want to react. You gotta kind of hold yourself back. Or some guys, some creators don't. That's their thing. People join in because dude, there's about to be a fight right now. I got to jump in and see this, or whatever the situation is. But you got to kind of figure out, like, if you want more people to, you know, vibe with you, talk to you, you got to have to be cool a little bit through some situations. I've learned that a little bit the hard way. And the other thing is that I've learned from talking to guys like the Cooligans. I've now worked for Jimmy Conrad. He literally is texting me right now. Jimmy Conrad was another situation where he and the Cooligans and other people have told me, like, no matter who you are, how small, people are watching you and they're seeing what you're doing. It could be guys from CBS that you would never think saw you. Or like I got randomly an audio clip on ESPN, soccer, and I was just like, or Football Americas is actually the show, right? And like they just used my footage, and I'm like, what the like? I didn't even know. I don't know any of these guys. I don't follow, like they don't follow me. And so the one big thing I would say is, like, everyone is watching you. So that goes into hand of like, be careful what you're uploading or whatever vibe you want to give out. You just got to really think about it before you upload. But I mean, I learned that I have some bad situations where being Argentinian and, you know, a royal family passed away, and I went a little bit crazy that day. It was a great day for me, and I learned pretty hard, like Kevin. Some people actually care about these people, and then I would learn that the hard way. But
I've learned that too.
Okay.
Right there with you.
So it's stuff like that where you're like, all right, I got to maybe stop dogging on some people at certain points and stuff like that. But yeah, the biggest one is, especially for content, is upload it, edit it, clip it. Even if you don't know how to do something, then don't. There's a guy that messaged me and he said, I don't know how to edit. And he's like, so I guess I'll just wait to stream. Bro, if you know how to stream, if you look that up on YouTube, just stream. Screw the edits, all right? Yeah. Just have something on a channel or on Twitch or on whatever. Just do that, and then you can learn. I did not know how to edit when I started the original channel, and then slowly I started learning. So a lot of people ask me, like, hey, I can't get the quality to look just like yours. So they're like, so I'm hesitant. It's like, dude, I've done this for like 9 years now, bro. Yeah. Like the channel's 9 months old, but I've been doing this for 9 years. So, yeah, just don't you don't need to look at other people. And the last thing I'll say about this is you will never, ever be equal to someone that, like, let's say you're watching, I used to watch this, holy crap, I can't think. The Manchester United guy that does watch-alongs, Mark.
Oh,
Goldbridge.
Yeah, Mark Goldbridge, yeah.
So, you know, he's got a team of like 6 people, dude. Like he's got a production, you know, his stuff went over years of crazy work. And even when I watch my stuff, I will look back and go, God, that looks like shit, whatever, upload. It's like something you got to mentally understand. It's never going to look like you want it to look like. But I wouldn't be in these positions now if I just didn't upload, you know?
Yeah. 100%, man. Before we go, first of all, that was all great knowledge. I'm actually writing notes down as you were talking about a lot of that shit. I can't wait. With that said, bro, this wouldn't be a proper Kevincho episode if we didn't talk about probably one of the greatest moments in your life, I want to say. Yes. Argentina winning the World Cup.
Yes.
Realistically, bro, when the tournament starts, Andre and I probably feel this way together, I would say collectively, when any major tournament starts, I'm not making predictions for my team. I'm not talking about them. Mm-hmm. It feels like I'm going to disrupt the universe and bad karma is going to come my way. I just don't do it. It gives me anxiety, quite literally. So,
yes.
How did you feel about Argentina coming into the tournament, and how did that scale up as you got to the final?
I think, so, looking back at it now, it was like everything that happened, it was just perfect. And this is why. Right before the tournament started, we were on this unbeaten run that honestly I didn't give a flying shit about. I'm like, I just stopped talking about, oh, if we go unbeaten, we'll be like 40 straight wins or whatever the hell the number was going to be. Like, who cares, dog? I'm not trying to go to a final and lose. My only thing in my brain was kick me out in groups, kick me out in the first round, kick me out in the semifinal, whatever it is. I do not want to go back to a final and lose. That was my whole mindset. I'm in a different situation too, because right before the World Cup, I made up my mind that I was going to do watch-alongs on this tournament. It's like what felt like the Bulls' last dance. It felt like our last dance. In my head, I go, we're not going to be good for a long time. 2024, I don't think we're going to be good. 2020, Copa America, I'm sorry. And then the next World Cup, I don't think we're going to be good. I just know this is it. This is it, Kevin. So here we go. Once I started streaming that first game against Saudi Arabia up in 4 in the morning, you know, that first game was a moment in my life where I was mentally like, and I think I even tweeted this. I was like, I'm not streaming this. I'm not streaming ever again. It was such like a low, not just because like, oh, it went bad. It was a shock loss. It was just like, when it's a big tournament like that, the comments, everyone,
I bet.
Dude, I had 6,000 like tagged tweets in mentions, whatever. Yeah.
Shit.
And I've never looked back. I never even looked at them. I was just like, I can't be on my phone today. My comment section was insane from whoever supported whatever country they found me, went right in, and they were dogging me. Oh, and I was going through, it felt like such a long game. I'm like, please just be done. And after that ended, I was like, all right, whatever I'm going to do right now, just like you, I feel like I'm so superstitious. I never thought I was. I never wore the blue and white jersey ever again. I didn't wear the same socks, underwear, shorts, pants. I actually still have them on my drawer, top drawer on the right, never touching them again. Fuck that. I'm never doing that again. And it went to wearing the purple jersey, wearing certain socks and all this shit. And so then it slowly started kicking in. All right, we beat Mexico. I mean, we were so shit in the first half. So I'm like, dog, this is it.
I was going to ask you, because I was talking to a buddy who also a River fan, also obviously huge Argentina fan, and he was like,
let's go.
You know, and he's one of my best buddies, and I was like, bro, like, it's going to be tough, you know, whatever. We were texting throughout the game, and he's like, the relief that I felt when Messi scored against Mexico.
Yes.
Like, I feel like that changed everything for you guys.
It came out of nowhere, too.
So I upload the highlights on TikTok and everything. I uploaded that goal. I didn't even look back until, I think, the next day. That goal, I straight up started crying. I didn't even realize I cried. It went in, and it was just like pouring crying. It was like, holy fuck, dude. Like that, and it because it was him, because it was out of nowhere. Mexico was playing well. We looked lost. It was just like, dude, it's gonna happen. This is it. Again, that day, my chat was horrible, and TikTok was gonna destroy me. I was getting tagged. Kevin, shitty first half, dog. How you feeling?
You're like, get the fuck out of here.
Dude, oh my God. I'm like trying not to like get my account banned and shit. I'm like, all right, let me just please. So then it went in, and then Enzo scored like the stupidest, unbelievable goal. And then from that point, it was like, okay, the slow burn starts. Like I have brothers and uncles that lived through 78 and 86. And they were like, Kevin, I'm telling you, once you just need one moment, and it's a slow burn to the final. Yeah. I remember Spain losing that first game, and then that slow burn to play Netherlands and win. It was just like everything started to feel crazy. Like I didn't feel relief. I just felt like, holy shit, it might happen.
It could happen.
Stay calm. It could happen. Every game from there was a final. Like literally we could not lose any game. And it was just like, okay, this is it. It's going to be, we're going to get kicked out here. That Netherlands game, the second freaking,
how did you feel about
scored
that?
The second one.
Yeah.
The first goal, I knew it. I will say this in the final. Once the first goal went in against Netherlands, in my head, in live, I straight up said, chat, second one's coming in. I'm telling you. You get like 10 minutes of added time, whatever BS they were doing there. And I'm like, it's happening. Last play, horrific. And Argentina did that exact play. That is an Argentinian free kick play that happened in the World Cup in the 90s.
I didn't know that.
It is the same free kick, same play, exactly the same thing, and they did it again to us. And I was just like so shocked and amazed that they did that to us. Then we get to extra time and then penalties, and that game, from what the coach said before that game was so it was more personal in the final. The coach, the complete like douche vibes that coach gave before the game. Then you had players talking mad shit before. Then the same thing with the penalty shootouts, the players going up to our players and say, I've never seen someone go up to a penalty kick taker. Like a goalkeeper, I've seen it, but an opposing player walking up with you talking shit as you go to line up.
Three of Dutch players,
oh, dude,
around Lautaro,
Dude, later we found out from the assistant coaching staff, I was watching ESPN Argentina, and one of them said, like, in that moment, we had to hold back 3 other assistant coaches or whoever was on the side because they wanted to protect, like, their sons. That you feel like that's your kid out there, you know, and they're talking shit. So when that game ended, I'm like, oh, my God. And that was the first moment where I'm like, this could actually happen. Like, 2 more wins, we're in a final. And then the memories of 2014's coming back, the Copa Americas were coming back, all these horrible vibes. Then Brazil getting kicked out by Croatia, I'm going to say this right now. I don't think I've ever said this. I was with my wife on lunch. We were working, and it was like one of those 1 o'clock games our time or whatever it was. And we were on our lunch break. I had it on my phone, and I'm like, these motherfuckers. Like, thank God Croatia tied it. You know, I'm like, hell yeah, let's go. But I'm like, Brazil's going to win in penalties. Like, I was so not ready for that game to end. And then when they ended, this is to tell you guys what the vibes are for Argentinians. Who was it, Marquinhos? So whoever missed the last one.
Marquinhos,
me and my wife are screaming, freaking out in this car, like with food and like eating fries and shit, like freaking out, screaming. My mom, while at work, called me and just screaming at her job. She's also working. They're out! Brazil's out! They're out! Vamos! Like screaming. Like you could kind of tell where I got it. And I'm like, fuck it. It was just screaming. and I'm in my mind, I'm like, we're gonna get kicked out by Croatia, but at least Brazil's out before us, baby.
So, yeah,
Brazil's out before us.
Yes,
that's the only thing I cared about at that moment. Croatia game started, and I'm like, we might get slapped here. The way they defended and all this stuff, and it was the complete opposite. It was like, holy shit, like we weren't trying. It was crazy. I'm like, what's going on? Like, holy crap. And then once we get to the final, it was the craziest emotions. That night before, I'm like, am I going to stream this or not? And again, the 2014 final memories were coming back. I'm like, okay, I don't want to be around people. And even though streaming, I'm by myself, I'm going to read the chat. My phone's going to be near me or whatever. So I made up my mind late that night, like, I'm not streaming. I'm just going to be with my wife and watch the game, put my phone on Do Not Disturb, and just go and just watch. And you're up 2-0. It's the first goal, whatever, but Di Maria's goal, I broke down because it was Di Maria. Like, the dude was supposed to be in the 2014 final, didn't play. I just wanted him to score, and he did. I broke down then, went into halftime, and I just, like, regrouped. Okay, we're not going to play an amazing second half, and then we were playing an amazing second. I'm like, oh my god, we're gonna kill these Frenchies, dog. We're about to be 4-0. France who? And I swear on everything that I love, my wife went to the bathroom, right? And my superstitious mind was like,
oh
okay,
no,
while we're here, we've been good. And she goes to the bathroom, and she was getting ready for the day because it's like the early morning game, right? So our day was
Andre, bro. It's Andre thinking.
Right?
100%.
Okay, so she left, and then Kylian's first goal, right, goes in. And I'm like, oh, shit. And I have this text message, and I can show you guys this later. I go, Julie, it's happening. That's literally what I wrote to her. And she just wrote back, stop. No, it's not. Relax, chill out. Don't be negative, all this stuff. And then the second goal went in. And when it went in, I literally just collapsed. I like fell backwards. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me, bro? Like, Argentina cannot win a damn game in a normal fashion. Like, please, please, just one game. And then once we went to extra time and Messi scores, oh my, dude, you have no idea. I lost my shit because I thought that was it.
Yeah.
You guys, you little you try, Teenage Ninja Turtle, all right? you almost had us. And
Donatello.
Then, I thought, done, bro. Messi scores it, 3-2. Every final, Argentina has won. Every World Cup, we're up 2-0. The other team ties it in the 81st minute. All three finals that we won went that route. Went to extra time this one. Messi scores the third, 3-2. We did the same thing against the Germans. Game over. And then the handball, which actually shouldn't have been a handball because there was a handball before the handball, which whatever. We'll get – that's a whole other thing. But eventually that's a penalty kick. He makes it. And I remember at that moment, in that exact moment, like even before the World Cup, even before Copa America, I hate goalkeepers that do the most or just are extra for no reason. I've always hated them. I like quiet, just stern old goalkeepers. That's always been my favorite. Then you have this guy like Dibu, who is an absolute moron, like 5-star idiot. And I'm like, okay, before the Copa America, I'm like, you're gonna eat shit. This is it. You're gonna eat shit. Then the Colombia game happened. I'm like, oh, okay, I guess we aren't eating shit. All right, he's fine, whatever. He had one lucky tournament. Good for him. And then we get into this one. Penalty shoot us against Netherlands. I'm like, okay, no, he's a dog. I'm sorry. All right, I'll put respect. You got us there. When we're against France, I even told my wife, it's like, this motherfucker is gonna choke right here. This is for what he gets for all the shit talking,
all the karma,
all the karma. Like, here it is. This is it. And when I don't know, Conan missed the first.
I want to go back to 123rd minute, last play of the game.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Absolutely right.
That was insane. The whole thing.
I know we're
insane.
talking about 20. I keep referencing 2014. That was GOLZtv. That was the moment. In my stomach, the same feeling I had. I was around people. I had the same feeling in my stomach where my stomach dropped and I got cold. It's like, here's the goal. And he saved it. And I could not believe he saved it.
That was crazy.
I could not believe it. And then again, so the vibes when we went into the penalties, I'm like, all right, this is where we're going to eat shit. And the only time I thought we were going to win was when Paredes scored the third. And I just looked at, I'm like, holy, and that's when I turned on my phone. I think at that point I even turned it off. I was scared that do not disturb would fail. I don't know what. And that's when I actually started recording just what my little reaction that I have for the last two penalty kicks. And I've just never felt any feeling like Boca River. We had like one of the greatest South American finals of all time. It was so much drama, and beating them in Madrid.
In Madrid at the
Bernabeu, I was like, no, nothing's gonna get better than that. And then the Copa America happened. Like, okay, against Brazil in Maracanã, like we own that stadium now. Like, yes, and nothing's gonna get better than that. And then this final, which in my opinion, like so selfish, but like in my opinion, it's like the greatest World Cup final at least.
Oh, for sure.
It was just like. There was just no way it could get better. It would only be better if it was Brazil. Like that would be the only epic.
Man.
If
that
it was
a lot of
Brazil,
people had that.
yeah, a lot of people had that, but yeah, it just couldn't get better. And all the stories afterwards, the Messi going back to France and like have that awkward, weird encounter with Kylian. It's like all the storylines is just insane. But the other thing is, to finish this all off, like. France are monsters. They're going to continue to be monsters. A lot of those guys are young as balls. They're going to kill it, in the Euros probably. But what I have to say about them is I didn't feel as bad for France only because they just won it. It's like, you guys are goats. Like you won one. You went to a freaking penalty shootout in the very next one. That's very hard to do, blah, blah, blah. They're going to be remembered forever for being such a squad, But like, we just needed it so bad, France. Like, thank you. We just needed it. I'm done. So now, like, at the end of this, I'm just going to say I'm ready for all my clubs to suck. That's why Liverpool's sucking ass. I'm like, it was a matter of time, baby. This is the Liverpool I remember when I grew up watching. They were trash, like, just so average, slipping, losing titles, So there's that. River's trash, like everything. All the teams that I hate are good. It's just like whatever. I'm fine for at least several years, 3-4 years.
What goes around comes around, man, and that's how I've always
the beauty
felt
of soccer. It's the beauty of soccer. It's a Ferris wheel. It's a fucking Ferris wheel.
We go through cycles. We go through cycles.
For sure.
Well, look, man. This was fantastic, Kevin. Seriously, cannot thank you more for being on this show. I think the stories that you shared. Dude, whether it's a content creator, a general fan, or someone who's discovered your channel for the first time, I think they're going to look at this and be like, man, I learned something about Kevin I didn't already know, which is awesome. That's always the goal of this content segment. So from everybody here at Box to Box, we are super grateful for you coming on. For those who are tuning in, we are going to link Kevin's socials and his channels down below. Make sure you guys check him out. Before we go, though, one more thing. Anything you're working on, I want to give you a chance to shout some things out. I mean, you mentioned before getting opportunities from maybe some other rival clubs or even Kansas City themselves.
Yeah.
What's on the horizon for you? 2023? Is there anything big that you want to kind of tease right now?
Well, there's a little project. So everything has pretty much changed for me right after the World Cup. Jimmy Conrad, someone who I looked up to, this like really a sporting legend, a U.S. men's national team, like star. Everyone knows who he is. He's a personality kind of guy. I've been working with him, so now I'm like his full-time editor at the moment. So that's like a personal side where I never thought that would ever happen. On the other side, for future stuff, I do have something going on with some club that I can't talk about yet, but it's coming out pretty soon. I can't wait for people to see it. It's just gonna, I think, give more people motivation to do what they want around this league. Because if I'm doing it, trust me, you guys could do it too. Trust me. We're in the wild west of U.S. soccer, in my opinion, especially with the Apple deal and all this new money and all this stuff. It's the perfect time to do MLS content. But on top of that, I really want to. The thing that I missed last season was just not going to games. I couldn't go, and I always felt like because this is like my first half a season, I need to like keep up the streams so people get used to be streaming. But this season I can black out certain dates and certain games. I definitely want to go to away games. My one on the list for sure. Well, two, I want to see an Austin game in person just from the vibes. And the other one is St. Louis got a team, and they talk a lot of trash for a team that's never played. So I can't wait to go there away. I want to see them away for sure, and just see.
Probably rowdy as hell. I've seen some interesting games at St. Louis FC.
Yeah, I think it'll be a good atmosphere, and it's going to be fun to be yelled at. That's one thing I miss about being at games is yelling at people in person, not being worried about what I say. And the other thing is being yelled at. That's something that it's always fun. It's like, all right, you got me. All right,
I love the banter. I love the banter, dude.
Yeah,
hell yeah.
Yeah, that's what makes it fun. So I want to have a few games out. I want to make sure I know where I'm going before I actually make it public, but. Yeah, that's the goal. More content, vlogs, because I've done vlogs for so many years. I'm so used to it. So that awkwardness when you're in front of people with a camera, it's like totally gone now. I don't care where I'm at,
Love it.
But that's something that I want to do next season. And then eventually, once we get just more people, because there are people doing this type of content or just MLS content in general, but it's really hard to link up or just work with them. It just seems like there's like some people don't like that you're doing well, so they just kind of don't mess with you, or some people want to just jump in because you're doing well, and I'm just trying to find some friends, we're just trying to grow each other, whatever. But there's some weird vibes there that I hope that that changes with more and more people doing this. If there's a lot of us doing it, we could just build a community, hopefully, of just creators.
If you ever want to come out to Seattle, man, let me know. I don't know if you've been. But...
No, me and my wife desperately want to go.
Sounders games. I mean, Jose and I went to the LAFC game. Was it LAFC?
Yeah, this was a couple months before playoffs, and it was a crazy atmosphere.
The atmosphere is insane.
The black and gold travel in packs, man.
Do they really? Yes.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I can imagine from their home games, but yeah, that's the thing. We really want to go to Seattle just to go to Seattle, and Seattle fans are not big fans of Sporting fans, and the other way as well. I don't really care. I never had that weird taste. But ever since, like, strictly doing this, people are like, Kevin, you're supposed to not like them. I'm like, all right, fine. I guess I won't like them. But now, if it's like an RSL game, I never have a good taste in my mouth with them. And a lot of people in your area don't like them either. So I think we would vibe, if I'm up there, maybe joke around. And we are all Seattle is another, like, I would say, a blue blood team, one of those OGs. Yeah. There's a lot of history. That's why they have a good atmosphere, and something that I think Kansas City lacks, which is weird because on the football side, they are one of the best atmospheres. Just like the Seahawks have a crazy atmosphere. Chiefs games are ridiculous. So sometimes
I've been to both, and they're both equally as loud. People always say, like, one's louder than the other. No, it's crazy how, like, you can compare both fan bases very well.
Two interesting stadiums. You would think maybe the sound doesn't travel well here or whatever the case may be.
No,
but
it's crazy.
I just want that into MLS. Like, I want that. If Seattle has it, I want to be there. Yeah.
If you ever want, man. I mean, they play where the Seahawks play, so you get a feel for, like, just how grandiose the atmosphere is. Especially if you sit where the supporters, like on the supporters end behind the goal.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, they don't stop singing. There's flags, like, all the shit. So
that is what I want to say. Is if I'm doing this away travel situation, I don't, weirdly enough, don't want to sit with, like, the Sporting fans. I kind of want to, like, eat shit with the, I don't know.
Infiltrate.
Yeah.
I feel you, dude.
All of the craziness of their fans. I know what Sporting fans are like. I want to see what it's like here. If people want to, like, yell at me or whatever, I'm like, all right, let's go. Whatever. Fuck it. I could be one guy screaming in, like, a group of people when we score. I'm fine with that. That's no big deal. But
typically how it is for me. So
yeah, for real. Yeah. So
Love
excited.
This is awesome, man. Kevin, thank you so much, man. And look, with those projects, I think everybody will be locked in and tuned in for whenever you want to unveil some more information. But look, man, regardless of whether it's the Jimmy Conrad thing, more work with the Cooligans, or any more player interviews that come, whether it's Sporting Kansas City or not, dude, you're doing so much. We can't wait to see what it looks like. And I'm right there with you. We all need more friends in this area where soccer's just kind of getting started.
Yeah.
And we hope this show can be that for others out there too. So
Definitely.
Again, Kevin, really appreciate the time. Thank you so much.
Thanks
and from everybody here at Box to Box, we'll see you guys next time.